Hi, today we are moving on to multiplying negative decimals, and just like when we did adding and subtracting negative decimals, we're going to combine what we learned in 6th grade, multiplying positive decimals, with what we learned this year in 7th grade with multiplying integers. So this is all the positive and negative stuff. This is just what to do when we multiply decimals. So to refresh your memory from last year, remember that you start by just ignoring the decimal point. You multiply as if it wasn't even there. So consider the numbers as whole numbers and then multiply, and then you get an answer and you have to figure out where to put the decimal point. And that's going to go the number of spaces that was in the original problem. So if there were 2 decimal spaces out of all the numbers in the original problem, then you'll have 2 decimal spaces in your answer. So we'll practice that by going through some examples. The first thing that I like to do is determine whether the answer will be positive or negative. This is negative times negative, meaning it'll give us a positive answer. So really I can ignore the negative signs and just know that my answer will be positive. And now let's follow these rules for how we multiply decimals. So ignore this decimal point. I'm going to set up 51 times 85. Because again, we can ignore that decimal point. And now just multiply. 1 times 5 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Remember, you need a 0 placeholder. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 5 is 40. And we add to get 5, 13, 3, and 4. So we get 4335 as our answer, but there was 1 decimal place in our problem, so we need to have 1 decimal place in our answer, making the solution 433.5. All right, let's take a look at this one. We have a positive times a negative. So right off the bat, we should know that our answer is going to be negative. And now let's multiply the decimals, ignoring the decimal point. So 6.7 can just be considered as 67. 0.4, you can write 0.4, but really you just need the 4 there. So really we're doing 67 times 4. 7 times 4 is 28. So 8 carry the 2. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 2 is 26. So we get 268 as our answer. And there are 2 decimal places in the problem. So we need to have 2 decimal places in our answer. So 1, 2 takes us to 2.68. And if that helps you, you can do that over here too. 1 decimal place was in that answer, 2 decimal places is in this answer. So then over here, we have another example of negative times positive, making our answer, oh shoot. Don't forget, we said our answer was negative. I almost forgot. And again, here we'll have a negative answer, because a negative times a positive is a negative. And follow the multiplying decimals rules. Ignore the decimal point, so just multiply 723.46 and take it from here. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 1 is 13. 7 times 6 is 42, plus 1 is 43. 0 placeholder. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. And 7 times 4 is 28. Add these up. 8, 5, 12, 13, 3. So we get 3, 3, 2, 5, 8. But again, in our problem, we had 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So we need 1, 2, 3 decimal places in our answer. So our final answer would be negative 33.2 Going down here, it says you owe 3 friends $8.55. Remember, when you owe someone money, that can be represented with negative numbers. So it asks to write an expression to describe this scenario and evaluate it. So if we owe 3 friends $8.55, we have this negative $8.55 3 times 3. You could also have 3 times negative $8.55. So from here, we'll set up our multiplication. Put the number with more terms on top. So 855 times 3, you get 15, 16, 25. So our answer would be negative $25.65. Because we had a negative times a positive, so our answer is negative, which makes sense because we are owing this total amount. And we had 2 decimal places in our problem, so we need 2 decimal places in our answer as well. All right, and then this last one, you pay $7.50 each month for Hulu. What is the change in your bank account after a year? So starting by writing an expression, if we pay $7.50, again, that can be represented with negative amount. So that's negative $7.50 each month. We want to figure out how many in a year. Well, how many months are in a year? 12. So times 12. So this is the expression that could represent it. Let's solve it. So I could do the whole 750, but I don't necessarily need that 0. 7.5 is the same as 7.50. So I'm just going to do 75 and times 12. So from here, 5 times 2 is 10. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 1 is 15. 0 placeholder, 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 7 is 7. Add them up. 0, 10, 9. So technically, right now, there are 2 decimal places in our problem. But remember, I didn't include this 0 in the 75. So without that 0, there's actually only 1 decimal place in the problem, meaning there should only be 1 decimal place in the answer, giving us an answer of 90. But remember, this is an amount that we're paying, and this was a negative times a positive, making our answer negative $90. Final answer. So that's how we multiply negative decimals, just combining what we know about multiplying positive and negative with what you know about multiplying decimals and putting that together. So hopefully this helped, and now it's your turn to practice.